Hey everyone, it's Lexi and today I'm going to share with you my review of Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. To start out, I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I did enjoy this book a lot. The only problems the reason why I didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars because I did find the first chunk of the book to be very boring. In the beginning, I wasn't really a fan of the Manon storyline. It was just, I didn't look forward to them. I always wanted to get to the Aelin parts, and it wasn't towards the end of the book, like literally the last 2 chapters that feature Manon, that I actually liked, where she starts to realize that maybe she does have a heart and she does have a soul. I also did enjoy like the tightness of the 13 and like the sisterhood around that, but up until the point where Manon does win like the competition, I didn't really enjoy that one as much. I really like the character of Eowyn, and I knew kind of from the beginning once he was introduced that he wasn't as bad as everyone thought he was. I think this was a good aspect to add into the story because there isn't anyone that Aelin has from her childhood, or because everyone that she has loved has been murdered. And I think it was good to include that, and that Eowyn was still there trying to fight for her and get her back onto the throne. As for that, I'm still surprised that Chaol is still like on the fence of how should he align with the rebels, would he go with the king, and that was frustrating because I feel like his obvious choice is to go with the rebels, only because he's already been helping them with that anyways, so it was kind of frustrating, and especially since he has such a strong bond for Celaena. You can tell that he still is in love with Celaena, but there is this one quote that I want to read, and it goes, "He known since the moment he figured out who she was that while Celaena would pick him, Aelin wouldn't." I think that's a good point to make because the girl that he fell in love with isn't necessarily the girl that she is today. And I do hope that Celaena and Chaol end up together. I was frustrated though, especially at the end with the king, how he could have saved Dorian, let's be honest. He could have gone back and saved him. And speaking of Dorian, I loved his character development in this story. The past 2 books I haven't really been fond of his character, but this time we start to see his true friendship with Celaena and how he is rooting for her and thinking that she'll come back for him. And I thought that was a good storyline. I did not really like Scotia. I think that's how you say her name. I could be wrong, but I didn't really care much for her character, and the fact that she was the one being the traitor, I felt like I kind of could guess that. I feel like the people that we had within the inner circle were not the people that would betray, would not turn against each other. So I felt like that, and I think her death needs to be something to motivate Dorian to go against his father. And even though he kind of has that necklace on now, that's where the story ends. I do think that when the time comes, I think he will be the one that will take over the throne from his father. I think the greatest thing that I enjoyed about this book was the character development of Aelin. I love the aspect that there's still like an element of mystery and you don't really understand everything about her, and especially in like this novel where the Vogue princes kind of like go back and look over the memory, you can kind of see why she reacts to the way that she does to things, and I think that's important to see. And we still there's still an element of mystery as to who she really is, and I really enjoyed Rowan. I love like how they have such a strong friendship even though it didn't start out that way, and the fact that Sarah J. Maas did not make them a couple as of now, I think that's good. I think we need like a strong relationship like this, and the fact that Aelin did free Ron from Maeve, I thought that was really good, and that part I really enjoyed. And also it was very good to see how we finally got to see Celaena grieve and understand finally let that anger out and express it. I'll read that quote right now. This is the part where Aelin finally kind of has her meltdown and explains why she's so unhappy, and just kind of her regret with letting all these people die, and especially Nehemia's death, which was the one that kind of like threw her over the edge. And it goes, "Because she is dead," she screamed the last word so loudly it burned in her throat. "Because she is dead, and I am left with my worthless life." I think that part just was probably one of my favorite quotes from this book. I can't understand how Aelin feels so guilty for all the things that have happened to the people who she loved, especially with Nehemia's death, because they had a fight right before she died. I think that was especially hard for Aelin. I also liked how Aelin kind of had her dark side. You can see why she's angry when she's talking to Rowan and he is asking her how could she stand before the king and work for him, and she replies saying, "That was how I was able to stand before the king of Ardalan, how I was able to befriend his son and his captain, how I was able to live in that palace. Because I did not give that rage, those memories 1 inch, and right now I am looking at the tools that might destroy my enemy, and I cannot let out the monster because it will make me use those tools against the king, not put them back as I should, and it might very well destroy the world in spite. So that is why I must be Celaena, not Aelin. Because being Aelin means facing those things and unleashing that monster." I think that's a very strong quote, especially why Celaena has hid from her true identity. I think that's especially important to like why she has hid all these years, why she's been afraid of who she truly is in her past, and like how that has kind of shaped her to who she is today. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. Besides the few storylines that I did not really like until towards the very end, I highly recommend this book. I'm very glad to see the way this series is going. As I said before, I gave it a 4 out of 4 stars, and I highly recommend it. That's it, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this book, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.